I'm going to shun him. And any good Democrat, any good progressive ought to do the same thing. Don't be rude to him. Don't do anything. He's an egomaniac. He's self-absorbed. He obviously cost us the presidency. I will not speak this egomaniac's name.
Welcome back to Harvard. That was, of course, James Carville, 16 years ago, speaking about third-party candidate Ralph Nader, just after Al Gore appeared to have lost the 2000 election to George W. Bush. Well, now many Democrats fear that Bernie Sanders might have the same effect on the outcome of 2016. Sanders ramping up his attacks on the Democratic Party itself, accusing the party of allowing Trump to capture the votes of the working people of this country. Here's Sanders just last night.
A party which incredibly is allowing a right-wing extremist Republican Party to capture the votes of a majority of working people in this country.
Well, columnist Dana Milbank of the Washington Post today points out, quote, the Vermont socialist is now running against the Democratic Party. And of his recent attacks on the party, Milbank writes, this was Ralph Nader's argument in 2000. There isn't much difference between the two parties. It produced President George W. Bush. I'm joined right now by former third-party candidate and consumer advocate and my personal hero, Ralph Nader, who's host of the Ralph Nader Radio Hour and is host of Breaking Through Power to mark the 50th anniversary of his landmark book, Unsafe at Any Speed. Ralph, thank you. Tell us about this 50th anniversary of Unsafe at Any Speed, your book about auto safety.
Yeah, well, it succeeded in making cars safer. It put into motion a lot of new citizen groups, and that's why we're at Constitution Hall next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We call it the Super Bowl of citizen action.
Okay.
And a lot of these leaders brought us safer food, safer cars, protected pensions. Look at Sid Wolf. He took all kinds of dangerous drugs off the market. Yeah. These are the experts, movers, and shakers that are off limits to the election. Nobody wants to.
Well, let me hear about it, because I knew a lot of them back then. Yeah. I knew them back, Mike Perchuk and Magnuson and Frank Moss and all those guys in the U.S. Senate and the staffers who work with you on truth in packaging, truth in labeling, all kinds of that good stuff, so you can eat a can of tuna fish and it's safe and you get on a plane. Anyway, what happened to all that reform? Is it still there?
It's still in place. The Republicans tried to unravel some of it with their so-called deregulation. The point is that elections today, the commercialization of elections, leaves democracy off limits. It's like there's a quarantine with these citizen groups. Nobody asks their opinion. Nobody asks for their involvement. Yet they're the experts, movers, and shakers who've actually helped to change this country.
Okay, let me ask you about this choice people face tonight. Bernie Sanders has still got a lot of zealotry behind him, a lot of passion behind him. He's losing in the numbers. It may be almost impossible at this point for him to win. How should progressives end up this campaign? How should it work to win the election against Trump?
Well, first of all, I think it's going to be fairly easy to win the election against Trump because he's not only uncontrollable, he's self-uncontrollable. So it's like a dust-up or an eruption around his ego every day. Yeah. You know, if you run for president, it's not all about you, it's about the people. So I don't think that's going to be that difficult a victory. However...
But you don't want to vote for Hillary. I heard.
No, not a corporatist and a militarist.
So how do you beat Trump if she's the only alternative?
Well, she or Bernie could beat Trump. Bernie's ahead in the polls against Trump. You know.
But I know it all. But what about come July when you have to choose? What do you decide?
Well, my vote is one of conscience. I don't disclose my vote, but I never vote for somebody I don't believe in. Obviously, I don't believe in Hillary's militarism.
Okay. I can see. I think she's more hawkish than Obama, certainly.
She scares the generals.
How far do you think she's more hawkish than Trump?
Trump is unknown quantity. First, he says he wants to negotiate with adversaries in North Korea and Russia, and then he says he wants to smash anybody who challenges us and threatens us. So it's an extremely unstable situation, which is why the business community is going nuts. They don't know what to do.
Let's deal with this, because you've been at war with General Motors in the beginning 50 years ago, and this corporate thing. Explain to people who are not on the serious left here, what is it about corporations that you think are inimical to a democracy? What is the problem with corporations?
Because they measure their progress by the monetized yardstick of profits, etc. First, they want to control everything. Everything's for sale. So they strategically plan our elections, our military procurement. They plan our tax system. They even commercialize childhood to sell kids things that are not good for them. In other words, they don't know boundaries. Every major religion in the world warned their adherents not to support heavily the merchant class. Beware, because they don't know boundaries that protect other values, you see? So in this situation, we got a corporate state. The first thing corporations want to do is control government and turn the government against the people, because the government is the only counterweight now to these giant global corporations who have no allegiance to any community or country other than to control them.
Yeah, and well, what about the people? What do we do to cheer on people like Elizabeth Warren, Ed Markey, people like that? There are still people like you in this government.
Well, they need an infrastructure of active citizens. That's what the breakingthroughpower.org is all about. People come to Constitution Hall, they will see success. Okay. And they will say, look, how small these groups are. They improved our country over the years. What if we were more engaged? I want to give you the ad here. Breaking Through Power, next week in Washington at Constitution Hall. Right. Breakingthroughpower.org. Come one, come all. They can't pay the ticket. They get it free on a scholarship. Ralph Nader, thank you, sir. There's only one Ralph Nader. Thank you. Up next, fortunately, just kidding, the Hardball Roundtable on Bernie Sanders' war with the Democratic Party.